Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope you guys are off to a great start on today. Yesterday was my kickoff day as far as my week is concerned. This is an extremely eventful and busy week coming up. I'm excited about it. Um, I'm going to talk to you today. It's Monday. I'm going to talk to you about what I believe is the first step in building wealth. It is a step that absolutely everybody can take, no matter where you are in your financial journey. And I'm going to talk to you about that. But first, again, for those of you who didn't catch it on yesterday, we launched the pre-order. We launched the pre-order for the release of my 21st book, I Am, which will be released on Friday, April the 12th. I'm excited about this. It's the second in a series of 6 books that is going to focus on personal development, personal performance, success, achievement, and fulfillment in every area of life. And it started with critical mass. For those of you who have purchased Critical Mass, I want to say thank you. As of right now, it's the #1 selling book overall of mine. Not actually quite, but in rate and volume, it is. It still hasn't caught up with When Your House Is Not a Home, but that's just a matter of time. I Am is taking it a step further. It's going to elucidate a lot of things and clarify a lot of things that were in Critical Mass and take it to another level. And I'm excited about it. We did we set off we literally officially launched the pre-order on Friday. And right now you pre-order the book, you not only get it at a discount, but you get a 30-minute breakthrough session, a free 30-minute breakthrough session with yours truly. For those who have taken the breakthrough session, they will share with you, they know that it's amazing what can happen in 30 minutes when you are focused and when you're tuned in and you have a specific goal. Things happen. No, we are not going to fix everything. No, your life is not going to be changed forever, because the work still has to be done, but it can be changed forever in the way that you see things, or being aware of what it's going to take to get to the next level. You can literally discover that in 30 minutes when you know what you're looking for. So if you pre-order the book, the link is in the description box, the post box, or whatever box it is, depending on the platform that you watch this video on. That link is in there. You pre-order the book, you get it at a discounted price, plus you get a free 30-minute breakthrough session with yours truly. If you haven't gotten the first book in the series, Critical Mass, that link is going to be there as well. You want to get Critical Mass because it's explosive. It's a 400-page power bomb. It's the only way I can express it. It's the peek inside of the mind of a madman, a person that believes anything is possible, and that's me. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things that are in both of those books over the coming weeks. But I wanted to just put that out there, get you, make you aware of it. Get in. I mean, get that. I'm looking to book people. We've already sold some pre-orders, so I'm looking to work with the people who made the purchases, and I'm excited about that. Now, let's talk about the #1 step, the first step, the thing that you have to do if you're really serious talking about building wealth. There are a lot of different ways that people define wealth, and a lot of times they confuse riches with wealth. Having riches is a part of being wealthy if you so desire, but it's not literally necessary. Now, having some zeros in your bank account comes with being wealthy, but wealth is far more than that. Wealth in it of itself is a state of mind. So literally, the moment that you change your thinking, you are wealthy at that point. Now, there are some markers that you have to reach in order to fulfill the idea or the concept of wealth. But wealth is a mindset. It is a state of existence. It's how you view yourself first. When you view yourself as being abundance, not having abundance or living in abundance, but as you yourself are abundant. You are abundance. You are the source of everything you will ever create. And you have to understand that there's absolutely nothing lacking in your life. The action to activate what's missing is lacking, but the thing that you desire and the thing that you need is available. There's no such thing as lack. And the idea of lack is what creates so much tension and stress and frustration, because most people look and say, because he has it, I can't have it. And that's not true. God designed the universe to respond to your demands. If it's something you need, you simply place a demand on the universe and wait on the counter demand. And that's where most people miss it. When you sit up and say, this is the life I want to live, life or the universe or God, however you want to put it, is going to say, okay, I got you, but this is what you're going to have to do. There's always a counter demand. And what happens is most people balk on the counter demand. You know, I was just listening to someone, one of my favorites, Mel Robbins. She was talking about she's always wanted a six pack and she's never had one. I think she's almost 50 now and she's never had a six pack. And she says that the reason when she really started to be real with herself, which is something we all have to do, she started to be real with herself. She realized why she never had a six pack. To have a six pack means she's going to have to probably back off of her love for alcohol. She's going to have to overcome her disdain for working out and all of the, and then do something with her absolute love of carbs. Now, she's not a heavy woman at all, but what it takes to have a visible and pronounced six pack, especially for a female, is a lot of intense changes in lifestyle that she's admittingly saying she's not willing to do for any given period of time to have a six pack. And then so that's what happens with most people. They want what they say they want, but they are not willing to put in or make the sacrifices to have it. See, anything that you don't have and you've never had that you want to have will require you to make some changes in thinking, changes in rituals, changes in behavior. And then it has to be consistent in order for you to experience it consistently. And that's something that most people don't want to do. So what happens is you sit up and you put it out there, you get the counter demand from life or the universe, and it says, this is what you're going to have to do. And you say, wow, all of that, man, I'm going to get to it. So some procrastinate, some just drop it and say, man, I'm not doing that. And so one of the things I tell my clients all the time is, what is it you want? And then they tell me, and I can say, based on my experience, this is what the universe is going to demand of you. Are you willing to do that? And if they say, man, well, if you're not willing to do that, then you don't really want this at the level you have to want it at in order to achieve it. I remember hearing Eric Thomas a while ago. It's become famous now, but I remember hearing him say this a while ago, some years ago, where he stood up and he said, I think it's when he first started doing his streams before he became E.T., you know, and I was watching that. He was telling the story about the guru. And the story about the guru is that there was this guru that everybody wanted to go see. He was an expert on success. He had achieved all this success, and people would go see him because he would tell them what they needed to know to become as successful as he was. And this one guy showed up at one of the conferences, and he went up to the guru and told the guru, I want the secret to being successful. Not just in one area. I want the secret to being successful, and I want you to tell it to me. He says, how serious and committed are you? He says, I'm serious. He says, okay, I need you to meet me out at the beach at 5 a.m. in the morning. And he's like, hold on, I'm talking about a principle. I need you to tell me what it is I need to do. I ain't trying to go swimming, surfing, or nothing like that. He said, if you're serious about it, meet me out at the beach at 5 a.m. So 5 a.m., the guy shows up. He walks out there, and the guru's out there, and he's already out in the water where it's pretty much waist to chest high. And he says, come on in. He says, what does this got to do with success? And the guru says, come on out and I'll show you. And so the guy is really, 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 you know, at least he believes serious about this success thing. So he goes out, you know, this is a guru. This guy is famous for, you know, making people successful. So I'm going to go out here. When he gets out, he says, "Are you sure you're committed to this?" He says, "Yes." So he takes him, he dumps his head under the water, and he holds him down for a while. He's kicking and flailing, trying to get up. He holds him up long enough to catch his breath. Then he dips him back down in. He does that several times, and then he lets him up. And while he's still trying to catch his breath, he said, "When I was doing that, what is the one thing you wanted more than anything else?" He said, "To breathe." He says, "When you want to be successful, as much as you want to breathe, that's when you'll achieve it. If you don't want it like you want life, it's going to be something that's going to knock you off of it. If you don't have a desire, and I tell people all the time when they ask me, you did this, well, what happened and how did you get here and what did you do? My thing is real simple. Look, when I set out to do something, I have an evaluation process. I look at it and I say, you know what? Am I willing to commit to this at the level that I commit? Am I willing to go the distance? If the answer is no, I'm not committing to it because it doesn't have the force to push me through the tough moments. But if I look at it and say, this is something I'm going the distance for, hey, good morning, cuz. If it's something I'm going the distance for, then I'm gonna get in and I'm going the distance. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what I've got to go through. If I say I want it, then I've got to want it bad enough. I got to want it as bad as I want to breathe. I've got to want it that bad. Why? Because life is going to throw curveballs at me. Life is going to send me some up. You're going to lose some people, literally, you love because life happens. You're going to have some people who turn on you. Life happens. You're going to have some setbacks, some disappointments, some moments of delay. And you've got to have something inside of you that's going to push you beyond it. And you might think, what this has to do with money? Every freaking thing. Money is a medium. It is not the end game. Money is simply something that you get to get something you really want. Most people think they want money, but the truth is they want what money will get them, what money will provide for them. And once you start focusing on the things that you really want and not money, you'll come to find out a lot of it you can get without money. There's abundance inside of you, and it's not only existing in the number of zeros in your account. You got to be able to understand all of this, but it comes to a point. You can only guarantee that you will have what you're willing to die for. Oh, y'all don't like that one. See, we don't want to be uncomfortable. We want to remain in our comfort zone and have all of the things we look up and desire. See, the mind has conceived some things, which means that it's possible. But see, that's a long way from possible to probable and a long way from probable to certainty. You've got to be willing to go the distance. It's not how much money you have. It's not who you know. Oh, we use that one all the time. It's not what you know, it's who you know. No, it's your commitment to go the distance. If you're not willing to go the distance, it doesn't matter who you know. You can call up the person you know. They'll set you up for it. But if you're not willing to go the distance, you're going to balk on the opportunity. See, at some point, you're going to have to put in work. At some point, you're going to have to put in work. So you got to come up with an idea of what's important to you. How will you define wealth within yourself before you define it in your bank account, before you define it in your assets? And see, at the end of the day, wealth is going to be all of your assets minus your debt. So there are some things that you go through to achieve that, and absolutely anybody can. I don't care what you've been told. I don't care about all of the things that are working against you. It's going to be more of a challenge for some. It's going to be a longer journey for others, but it's possible. If a man who at the height of his career at UPS only made $14,000, so obviously that was a long time ago, but if he only made, which still makes it extraordinary when you hear the story, Theodore Johnson, the most he ever made in his 30-year career so at UPS was $14,000 a year. But he had somebody who understood money that forced him to take 20% of that and invest it in interest-bearing investments that had compound interest as the mechanism. And when he retired from UPS, he was worth $72 million. There's another man, it's not as extravagant, but when you look at the fact he only made $12 an hour at the height of his career, and he retired, this was actually a black gentleman, he retired as a parking lot attendant. But the thing is, he worked in the financial district. So the people who parked in his garage were investors, money managers, stockbrokers. And so he would just hit them up when they come by, hey, how you doing? And he would hit them up for advice or whatever. He took that advice. At $12 an hour, he retired. I think he was worth over $1.5 million. It can be done. But one of the reasons that most people don't do it is this first step that I'm going to give you. And we're going to talk about these steps as we move through these next few Mondays. But this first step I'm going to give you. But the primary thing is, first of all, mentally. Where are you in developing? Now, the thing is this. Wealth, at the end of the day, I'm going to define it for you so you can understand it. Wealth is not about how rich you are. Wealth is about how automated your lifestyle is when it comes to being able to support yourself. See, you got a bunch of people who got six-figure, seven-figure salaries. Now, that's a major mechanism and contributor to wealth, because the more money you have to play with, the more things you can do. But if you're working for it, you're not wealthy. You may be rich, but you're not wealthy. Let me explain what wealth is. Wealth is the ability to create passive income that does not require you to work for it. And you can do that diversely by having multiple streams of income that, again, don't require you to work for it. So you're investing in things that produce a return consistently. This is how you retire. You don't retire off a nest egg, because people are outliving their nest eggs, you know, and that becomes a problem. If all you have is a nest egg, you've got to manage how you spend the rest of the way. Anything catastrophic happens, you've got a problem. Because it increases the chance that you're going to outlive your nest egg. But when you create passive income streams through investments that will provide you monthly income for the rest of your life, as long as you're living, and can be passed on to the next generation, that's wealth. Now, it doesn't matter how much it is, it just matters that it supports the lifestyle that you desire to live. Not everybody wants the yacht and the private planes and the island and everything else. Some people want a decent home with some dependable cars that they can replace when necessary, and the ability to move about and do some things freely. And that's the life they're comfortable with. They're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. They don't have a big desire to do all this stuff. And if they have the mechanism, they may have 7 rent houses that pays for all of that. And they have that set up, and they have some other streams of income to make sure they diversify it. So if markets start to shift, they're going to ultimately be okay in the long run. And they're spending less than that's coming in, they're wealthy. Then you got somebody that's going to need something that's producing multiple streams of income of in excess of 7 to 8 figures in order to live the lifestyle they want to live. And when they do that, then they're wealthy. But the thing is, you have to be able to support your lifestyle with a passive income, not the income you make. And see, that's always been my goal. My goal is I get up and do what I do. I want to get to the point to where it's solely my passion. And that's the thing. I'm going to do what I'm doing now in some form or another until I die, because it's my passion. It's not simply a mechanism of me making money. I love helping people. I love unveiling things to people. I love showing people things are possible. And so I'm going to do that the rest of my life. But the thing is, I'm building something. And I did it a little differently the second time around. Those of you who know me long enough, that was this time when it was, everything was going good. And then arrogance put me in a position where I had to start over. But in the rebuilding, because of my wife and my kids, I'm rebuilding from a reverse place. So I'm actually now worth way more than my family from a hard perspective. From a theoretical perspective, obviously, I'm worth more than my family alive and dead. But right now, money-wise, I'm worth more than my family if something were to happen to me, not just because of insurance policies, but because of the mechanisms I have in place. If everything falls true, all of the deployable assets that I have out, books, courses, and all of these other things that I've created that will still work without me, when I go, they will actually increase in value. There are mechanisms in place that my wife knows about, that other people know about, that will take over if something happens to me. So that's that. Now I'm coming back in to create the mid-range and the immediate. Those are the things, and I wanted to do that because of the age I am in life. Now, if I would have had to start over when I started over, instead of starting over in my mid-40s, and I would have been starting over in, say, in my 30s, I would have started over from the beginning, building and moving towards something, because the chance of something happening is less. You know, the older you get, you know, it is what it is. So I wanted to make sure that I don't leave my family in a bind. And so that's how I built. Now, what's the first step? I hadn't even got to, I'm just so excited about being able to share with you guys. What's the number one thing you have to do if you talk about building wealth? It is actually making a decision to make the change. It's, you see, most people think it's their environment, it's their condition, it's their situation. Situations are temporary, conditions are temporary, environments are temporary. You have the ability to change all of that. It's not that. What is it? It's your mindset. Your mind is literally dictating everything to you. And what's the first big change you have to make? You have to make the decision that you are going to be primarily an investor versus a consumer. Most people are consumer minded. Well, we live in a debt-based economy. So everything around you, from television shows to movies to radio to music, is putting you in a mindset to spend money. You got all these commercialized holidays that demand you spend money, whether you have it or not. It's not just rich people spending money on Christmas. It's poor people spending money they don't have, and creating more and more debt, are diminishing assets that they could be using for something that will strengthen the financial security and health of their home. So you got to look at this. Am I an investor-minded person, or am I a consumer-minded person? Consumerism is a destructive force, but it's what's literally pushing this economy. That's why you should be preparing now for some form of a collapse. You're going to have a collapse time and time again because of the inflation, because of the way you can inflate prices and values on different assets, you know, because of the debt. You know, you can back it with debt, but see, it's more solid, it's more stable when it's backed by an actual asset. But debt is the asset. So they need people to spend money. They need people to spend more money than they make. And so what happens is, when you look at the basics of net worth, how much you're worth from a financial perspective, is your total assets minus your total debt or liabilities. And the first thing you want to start doing is reducing your debt. If you're reducing your debt, you're building wealth. It's not, most people don't see success in wealth building until they have this big emblem of their success that they can show everybody. It's a mindset. Before you ever become wealthy in your bank account, in your asset holdings, you're going to have to be wealthy in your mindset. You're going to have to see yourself differently. You're going to have to stop needing those Louis Vuitton shoes in order to feel special. The you know, the $1,500 bag and all of this other stuff, the whatever. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having any of those things, but what's driving it? Is it a need to feel important? It's a need to pretend that you have something you don't have. If those things, if that's the thing, then you are diminishing yourself and your value and your worth well outside of the spectrum of finance. Your greatest value isn't even in finance. Your greatest value is in your self-awareness, your self-worth, the ability to understand how important you are to the world around you. Because that's a producer, no matter how you look at it. You've got to start understanding things with a greater mindset and a greater expansive view of how life works. Money is simply a medium, a mechanism through which things happen. You can start to make things happen without money. And then you start to realize, it's me. I can do it with the money, I can do it without the money, I can do. There's no such thing as lack. And you start to move, you start to act. Look, as I get ready to jump off of here, because I got a lot to do today, as I get ready to jump off here, it's important that you understand who you are in depth. Not what other people have told you, not you being defined by your things, not you being defined by your industry, but who you are defined by your design. What were you intended? I'm speaking to some youth on this coming Sunday. And the theme is level up. And we're going to talk about some leveling up. But the thing is, what I love about the story of Gideon is this dude, this Israelite, this Hebrew, that is in the wine press, threshing wheat in the wine press because it gives him cover and he can hide from the Midianites. The Midianites have been raiding and doing all of this, and he's afraid of the Midianites. He's behaving like a coward. But when God shows up to have a conversation with Gideon, God refers to Gideon not based on his current situation, not based on his current circumstance, not based on how he's defining himself. God refers to Gideon based on his design. He calls Gideon a mighty man of valor. Now, that's not what you would normally call somebody who's hiding, but that's what he called him. Now, it had to be developed in him. He had to have a shift in paradigms. He had to have a shift in how he viewed, first of all, himself, and then the world in which he existed. He had to find the prominence in his existence in order to start walking like he had been defined. But that is what you've got to be able to look at and see in yourself. Because when you start to see yourself as being valuable, you don't need trinkets now to validate you. Now, if you go out and buy the expensive watch, it's because you saw something in it, you thought it would be beautiful, and you love it, and you want it, and you can afford it. And that is what you have to understand. So in essence, the first step is simply changing how you view life, changing your thinking, moving away from being a consumer to being an investor. How much of your money is put into something that will produce a return? And how much of it is being spent on items and things and situations that will diminish the moment you spend your money? The car isn't worth what it was when you drive it off the lot. The shoes, the moment you walk out of the store and put them on, they're no longer worth what you spent on. You've got to start understanding what wealth is. When you invest in yourself, when you spend, now here's one, spend money on a course or a college class or even working with somebody like me, and it's going to over time increase your capacity. That's an investment. Why? Because whatever you spent, you'll get back on the back end times 10, times 50, times 100, times 1,000. That's an investment. If it's going to diminish in value, you are consuming and wasting. You've got to see the growth value. Now, I'll show you how. Buying the right food, buying healthy food. No, the food isn't going to increase in value, but it's going to contribute to creating a healthier you, which is going to give you more energy, a clearer way of thinking, and it's going to increase your health and stay in your life and give you more capacity to contribute to the world around you. It's an investment. You've got to be able to identify, interpret, and understand the difference between when you're consuming and when you're investing. And 90% of your money movement has to be in investing. That's the first step. Look, I'm not going to keep you long today. I got a lot I got to get into myself, but I definitely wanted to thank you guys for stopping by. If you haven't pre-ordered, and I know it's new, so a lot of you haven't, pre-ordered my next book, I Am, and the subtitle on I Am is the 2 most powerful words in the English lexicon. And the reason that I chose that is when you make a statement of I am, anything that follows is a declaration. Anything that follows is a declaration. And for those of you who believe in spiritual influence, spiritual power, spiritual intellect, supreme intellect, divine intellect, God, the universe, however you're looking at it, then you have to understand that that declaration has a power to establish a path. And matter of fact, in the book of Job, it says that you shall declare a thing and shall be established for you. You are declaring when you speak. I am is powerful because what follows sets the path of your destiny, of your future. And we talk about that on multiple levels. We talk about not only how it works, but how you can use it to change your path. How you're speaking consistently is going to work to develop new neural pathways that change your process and move you in a different direction to accomplish things you've never accomplished before. Accomplishments beyond what you have normally done and consistently done in the past requires change. The thing that scares a lot of people, but it's necessary. If you haven't done it, pre-order it, get it. You're going to get it at a discounted price during the pre-order promo, and you're going to get a free 30-minute breakthrough session with yours truly. Hey, the breakthrough session alone is worth about 100 books, literally. And you're going to get that free. With that being said, I'm going to get ready to jump off of here. I got a lot of other things to do, but have an awesome day. Think about it. Make the decision to become an investor over a consumer. Everything you think you need, you don't need. Everything you think you've got to have, you don't. Start focusing on producing things that will produce a return over and over again. That's where you've got to get. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody, it's possible. Go out and do it.